Hello everybody and welcome. This is a Legacy School Literacy lesson for Year 6, Week 2. This is the second lesson we are taking this week. For this lesson, you'll need your Checkpoint 1 workbook from pages 1, 2, 3. So we've been talking about factual writing all this term, and the following passage is a piece of factual writing. We're going to read it carefully and then answer the questions that follow. So the Channel Tunnel. This is a tunnel that was built between France and Britain, crossing the English Channel underwater. So plans for an undersea tunnel joining Britain and France were first drawn up by a French engineer, Albert Mathieu, in 1802. The idea was to transport passengers by horse-drawn carriage. However, as hostilities developed between Britain and France, the idea was dropped. Nevertheless, people still thought about the possibility throughout the 19th and 20th centuries. After the invention of the railway, much thought was given to building a railway tunnel, but as early trains were pulled by steam-powered locomotives, there were significant practical problems with this idea, as well as the continuing fear that such a tunnel could be used for hostile invasions of both countries. So, remember, this is the 1800s, and the type of trains that were available were powered by steam. So you would burn coal, and that would heat up water and cause steam to rise, and that would move the engine. So you could probably imagine the problems that you would face when you have a steam-powered engine going through a tunnel underwater. It would probably get very, very hot, and the smoke would probably make it very difficult to breathe or to see. So, back to the text. In the early 1870s, however, the Channel Tunnel Company Limited started to dig shafts for a tunnel, but the project was abandoned in 1875 again, when there was a change of the UK government. 100 years later, in the early 1970s, work started again, but was abandoned for economic reasons. When we say economic reasons, we usually mean there was a lack of money. At last, in 1985, it was finally agreed that the project would go ahead, but would be funded privately and not by taxpayers. And of course, this would reduce the risk of running out of money. Various proposals were put forward, both for road and rail tunnels, and for different types of bridges. The outcome was that a rail tunnel was to be built by the Channel Tunnel Company. And it was chosen, and construction began in 1988. The tunnel was to run from Folkestone in southeast England to Coquelles in northern France. There would be 2 rail tunnels plus a central service tunnel. The project involved over 1,500 workers, and the total cost was around £4,650 million, which is about $7 billion. The 2 ends of the tunnel finally met in 1990, and the tunnel was completed and opened on the 6th of May, 1994. So the 2 ends of the tunnel finally met in 1990. What does this tell us? The 2 ends finally met. Did they begin work from one place and dig all the way to the other end? Or did they begin on both ends and meet in the middle? So this tunnel carries both high-speed passenger trains, shuttles for cars and passengers, and freight. All of them are electrically powered. At 23.5 miles or 37.5 kilometers in length, the channel, as it is known, is the longest undersea tunnel in the world. So now that we've read the text, we can go ahead and have a look at the questions on pages 2 and 3. So it says, for what reason was the tunnel planned in 1802 abandoned? So for this, I really want you to go back to the text, read it, understand it very well, and answer the questions. So number 2 says, suggest a reason why a rail tunnel was thought to be impractical in the 19th century. For this question, I want you to think about what type of train was available at that point in time. Number 3 says, in what way were the proposals for building the Channel Tunnel in 1985 different from those made in the 1970s? Again, read back in the text and see what changed in the proposals. A proposal is a plan that's brought forward. Number 4 says, how many tunnels were eventually constructed? 5, from the final paragraph, what do you learn about the way in which the tunnels were constructed? Number 6 says, explain the meaning of the following words and phrases as used in the passage. I want you to try to answer this question without using your dictionary. I want you to see how the words were used in the text and try to come up with the answer from that. So we have hostilities, significant practical problems, hostile, various proposals, and the word outcome. Number 7, we have a really easy question. It says, state 5 facts given in the passage about the Channel Tunnel. You should refer to the last 3 paragraphs only. So we all know the difference between a fact and an opinion, so make sure all 5 of the answers are facts. Thank you so much. If you have any questions, please ask me on the app, and I can't wait to see your answers.